Well, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
I don't know if I'm on yet. You guys hear me out there? There it is. So, we are in the final week of struggles, and we've been talking about different things, and really it's hashtag struggles, and we've been talking about all the different things that social media causes us to do. It causes us to go through, sometimes we lie about who we are, false personas on social media. Sometimes we kind of portray things are always good when they're really not always good. We always have issues. We have stuff that's going on. And then, sometimes, and we're going to talk about today, is sometimes it takes us away from having rest. A lot of times is that social media, what we do is we get on this thing first thing in the morning. You turn it on and you go, hey, what's on Facebook? And then before you go to sleep tonight, the last thing that you're going to do is you're going to go through Facebook. It happens over and over and over again, is that's the start of our day and that's the end of our day. Could you imagine what would change or how things would be different if you actually started your day with the Bible and ended it with the Bible instead of with Facebook? Is Facebook that important that it makes it to where you can't actually have a relationship with God? Is it that important that your cell phone becomes your number one priority rather than the relationship that you're supposed to have? These are the things that we're talking about. And really, it starts with rest. How many people in here knows what it means to honor the Sabbath? Anybody in here knows what it means? Because a lot of people don't really honor the Sabbath. Honor the Sabbath. It's an actual commandment. It's not one of these things that's a suggestion or anything. It is commanded that we honor the Sabbath. Back in the day, we used to work 6 days. That's what it was. You would work 6 days, and you would get 1 day off. 6 days, 1 day off. You can thank Henry Ford for you having a 5-day work week. That's you can thank him. He was the one that came out and said it's 5 days, 40 hours a week, and you earn a livable wage. But before that, you worked 6 days a week, and guess what day you got off? You got Sunday off. Why? So that you can come worship and then go home. You could have fellowship. These are honoring the Sabbath. It's going home and relaxing. It didn't mean go home and mow the lawn afterwards. It didn't mean go home and do laundry. Those are all things that were supposed to happen in that 6-day work week. Not on your day off, not on your day of rest. But a lot of times, we just skip the day of rest. We just go off and we just turn it into whatever we want it to be, and we skip it and we make it what we want. Before I go a little further, I found this poem, and I thought, I was reading, and I go, man, this is just like perfect. It says, we met in a chat room. Now our love can fully bloom. Sure, the World Wide Web is great, but you make me salivate. Yes, I love technology, but not as much as you. You see, but I still love technology, and it always and forever. It keeps going, but it's like those are the important parts. There's a love-hate relationship there. Some of us love social media, but there's a love-hate. It kind of bounces back and forth. There's things that we look at and go, man, we love all the obvious. We love that we can connect with people. We love that we can have a relationship with people. We love that there's lots of things that you can see. You can interact with people that are across the world, that are all over the country. You can literally interact with anybody with social media. The problem is that we hate it in certain places because it literally is addicting. It takes you and it makes it to where your mind triggers these serotonin responses, and you end up, anybody ever gotten on their computer and maybe they were on social media, but maybe they're even on just a video game on their computer or anything like that, and you started at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then all of a sudden you realize that it was midnight? Anybody ever had that? You look down and go, oh my gosh, where'd the time go? It went to that computer. You lost everything to that computer. And these are the things that we really hate because it takes away so much. It owns us. That computer or the social media owns us. Carey Nieuwhof, like money, social media is a great servant, but a horrible master. It's a horrible master. It really is. But it's also like money, because if that's all you're pursuing, if that's all you're after, then guess what? It is going to destroy you. It's going to tear you up, and it's going to eat away at you. You have to start looking at things a little different. In 1 Corinthians 6:12, it says, I'm going to paraphrase a little bit because you don't need the whole thing. It says, I have the right to do anything. I have the right to do anything, but I will not be mastered by nothing. It's really what it says. Now, when you open up 1 Corinthians and you're reading this little section, it's actually talking about sex. This is where Paul is talking about. He actually opens up and he starts talking about how our sexual immorality can destroy us. But this is the same thing with anything. Anything will destroy us like this. When we start looking at it, what are you being mastered by? Are you being mastered by social media? Are you being mastered by money? Are you being mastered by possessions? What are you being mastered by? Because so often it destroys us and takes us away from what really matters the most. What matters the most? Your relationship with God? your relationship with your family, your relationship with the people that are immediately next to you? How often do those get neglected because of work, because of money, because of social media? How often does that happen? I know it's consistent. It happens over and over and over again. How do you know you're addicted to social media? How do you know? Because I wrote down a few things. I saw them and I thought they were kind of funny. You plan your Throwback Thursdays a week in advance. Anybody do that? Anybody go, what's my next one for next week? How about this one? Anybody have this? Your cat has their own Instagram page. Anybody have their cat have their own Instagram page? Maybe your dog. Does your dog have an Instagram page? Maybe you have a rabbit, something like that. You enjoy going to the bathroom so that you can get to like level 77 in Candy Crush? You know, is that one of you? Is that you're a person like that? You're like, I need that. Or Simpsons, whatever. You change your Facebook profile more often than a 12-year-old girl. Anybody do that? You're changing the page all the time, your picture. You sleep with your phone like it's a teddy bear. You know, do your wrap up and you get all cuddly next to it. And you're like, man, I love this, and pet it, and it's so good. Oh, I don't know what I would do without you. You say sorry, not sorry in real life. You know, it's one of those things that you do. You come up, sorry, oh, not sorry. Real life, like a real type of thing instead of just a hashtag type of thing. You come on to your spouse by sending her a text message, hashtag, are you in the mood? You know, is that one of those ones that you do? There's actually a new disease. It's called nomophobia, N-O-M-O phobia, and it's the fear of being without your phone. It's literally the fear of being without your phone. 66% of people have it. 66% of people have the fear of being without their phone. 80% of people that are 18 to 24, 80%, it's actually 77%, but 80% won't give you their phone. They're like, no, I'm not giving you this. You can't have my phone. They won't give it to you. I'll put it, what number do you want to dial? I will put it in for you. That's how we let people use the phone. 80% of people will not give you the phone. Here's a couple other statistics. In your notes, there's a couple of them that you can follow along with. 58% of people don't go one waking hour without checking their phone. 58% of people don't go one waking hour without checking their phone. 59% of people check email as it comes in, and 89% of people check it daily while they're on vacation. 89% of people check it daily while they're on vacation. Do you check your email when you're on vacation? Anybody? Isn't it called vacation for a reason? Has anybody seen the commercials lately? The commercials that come out, who is it that the little kids are talking about? You know, if you would take that extra week of vacation, then we would actually be good kids. You know, has anybody seen that one? Because it really is 400 million vacation days. 400 million vacation days a year in the United States go unused. 400 million vacation days. Wow. How many of them have you left out there, and how many of them have you really taken? Have you really taken your vacation days? And where it's an actual day of rest, it's a time away, it's a time to really break and go, I don't need to check my email. Guess what? They will all still be in my inbox when I get back to work on Monday. Anybody realize that? They will all still be there. They're not going anywhere. They've been delivered. 80% of teenagers sleep with their phone. 80% of teenagers, it's their blankie, their Linus now. That's what it is, 80% of them. If you have a teenager, they have a cell phone, it goes to bed with them. 8 out of 10. That's really what it is. How many of them you try and take it away from them, they go, hold on, but before you take it from me, I have to delete some stuff off of there. All of them do that. Before you can get their phone, they're like, wait a minute, I got to delete some stuff. And they'll go hide. I got to use the bathroom real quick. Hold on. And they go in the bathroom and they start deleting stuff because they're doing things that they don't belong doing on it. 84% of people believe they can't go one day without their phone. 84% of people can't go one day without their phone. How many of you think that you can go one day without your phone? You can just put it down and be like, I'm done with it. Like Verizon just said one day, we're cutting it off, and you will not get it back until tomorrow. You're lying. All of you, put your hands down. Okay. Most of us can't go that way. We just can't. What we do on a regular basis, we've become so accustomed. We check the phone in the morning. We check it at night. We check Instagram at a certain point. We look at it and go, I got to check Instagram for this. I got to look for this. We post from the toilet. It happens over and over again. We do, it literally, you text while driving. This is, see, here's what gets me, is that a lot of people will text while driving. And see, the thing is, it's just like being a drunk driver. It's because you're going to kill somebody else. That's what it's going to be. Not only are you probably going to get killed at some point, you just keep texting and focusing on that cell phone. Not only that, you're probably going to kill somebody else. That's just the realities. And so you just keep texting. Go ahead. At some point, we have a guy in here who actually works for CHP. He'll get you. Or another person, you're going to kill them. Take that to reality and stop texting while driving. Most of us, we go and we'll take we go on a trip or something like that. I remember just maybe it was like a year and a half ago or 2 years or whatever it was. I was on a plane and I got off the plane and when we landed, it was late at night. And it was like 10, 11 o'clock at night we land. And my phone, as soon as you turn it on, because that's the first thing we do, right? The plane lands, you turn on the phone. It's like the most important thing ever. You turn it on and go, what's on Facebook? Who texted me? Who sent me an email? Well, I got 3 text messages at 11 o'clock at night. I got an email, and I'm like sitting there, I'm like going, ooh, and I got angry. Why? I wasn't angry on the flight. It was actually a pretty good flight. Can you see how this has changed and how dramatically it's changed our lifestyles? We get off the plane, and all of a sudden you got all these text messages, and you get this email when you were perfectly content. Didn't have any issues, and now you have issues because you've read a message that didn't exist 4 hours before, and life was perfect. You were sitting there kicking back, drinking your soda, and eating your peanuts. It was perfect. What happened? What happened was this little thing that's destroyed what we call community. It's destroyed it. It's over. We have the inability to shut down now. Anybody ever toss and turn? That late at night, you just toss and turn and toss and turn, and you're like, man, why is it 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm still up? Because I had that last night. Just like sitting there, I'm like, man, why am I still awake? Because our brains don't shut down. Where is your peace at? Where are you finding peace? Because you think you're finding peace in this? You're not. You're not finding peace in social media. You ever seen how many people are posting positive things compared to how many people post negative things? It's like 2-to-1 ratio that people post negative things. Over and over and over again. I hate my life. I hate this. I hate this going on. I hate that going on. We need to change it. Your brain is always running. The RPMs are just going. And you try to shut it down at night, you're running at 7,000. You need to get back down to that idle. You need to get down to like 800, 600 RPMs and get that brain set to sleep. All of us have acknowledged that we need rest. We know it. Anybody in here ever gone 2 or 3 days without sleeping? Now, I don't want you to imagine, 2 or 3 days without sleeping. You ever notice that you start seeing things? You ever notice that all of a sudden you start hallucinating? You're like, was that there? They say that when you're tired, that tired driving is actually just as bad as drunk driving and sometimes worse than drunk driving. So when you're tired, it's so much worse. You need rest. You need to have it. Your reaction time is slower. Everything is bad. Your soul also needs rest. You guys realize that? Your soul needs rest. You really need to take some time away and be able to and really focus on yourself. How many times have you just really sat there in the quiet and it's just you and God? Nothing else. Just you and God. Not the kids running around, not the husband or wife, just you. So often we miss that. And when we miss that, the soul really never gets rest. That God has a special rest for us. He tells us about it. There's a special rest when you have Christ. He tells us in Hebrews 4, in verses 9 through 11, he goes, there is a special rest still waiting for the people of God. For all who have entered God's rest have rested from their labors, just as God did after creating the world. So let's do our best to enter that rest. Let's do our best to enter that rest. God created the world in how many days? Come on, guys. Easy one, right? 6 days, right? Only 2 people answered that. God created the world in how many days? 6. Much better. There we go. 6 days. What did he do on the 7th day? He rested. What are you doing on the 7th day? Coming to church, and then what? Watching football, screaming and yelling at a TV that nobody can hear you except for your neighbors. And they're going, what is wrong with you? But that's how it is. We literally don't rest. Even when we're watching football, our blood pressure skyrockets. We sit there and we go out, we're in this whole new mode. We're going, why is it that they're doing this? We're yelling at the TV. We yell at our families that are in the room. We yell at the other guys that are in the room. What are we doing? What sort of life is this? Where is the rest at? You don't find rest. And you're going, why is it that I'm so stressed out? Why is it that I can't think straight? Why is it? Because you haven't entered that rest that God has commanded us to try and seek. He said, do your best to enter rest. Do your best. Have you done your best trying to enter rest? It's a big question. Because a lot of times we haven't. Augustine come out and said, you have made for us, O Lord, and our soul is restless until it finds rest in you. Matthew 11:28, come to me, all who are worried and all who are burdened, and I will give you rest. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you. I don't care. Check. Oh, now it's loud. So we look at this and we start going through it and we start seeing, and it says, all that are weary and burdened. You know, this, and if you start looking at this, is like a key verse for the edge. It really is. It's one of these things that we were starting to look at, and if you read it in the Message, it really talks about finding Christ. It talks about taking the yoke off, removing the yoke. Because you know, back when this was happening, right? When he comes out and he makes this statement, what would happen is that a lot of times people didn't have a Bible. Remember, most people didn't have a Bible until Gutenberg invented the printing press. Most people couldn't even read. So what would happen is a rabbi would come into town. He would set up shop in the courtyard that they would set up. And what they would do is he would preach from the books that he carried. It wouldn't even be a Bible. It would be, I have these scrolls, I have these scrolls. He didn't even have all 66 that we consider the Bible today. He would just have the collection that he wanted to teach from. That's all he would have. He would have his own little group. He'd go, I like these 5, and these are going to be the only 5 I'm going to teach from. Because remember, he had to carry them. It wasn't like he threw them in the back of the pickup and drove. He had to he had to carry them. I mean, maybe he had a scribe with him, or maybe he had somebody that was going to be his helper. But for the most part, he was carrying books on his back, going from city to city. And so this rabbi comes in, and he'll preach, and you would wear that yoke. That's what it was considered. It was considered a yoke. You would wear that, and that would be what guided you. That would be what led you. What direction you were going to go was that yoke. You ever a yoke you put on an ox? What happens when you pull it to the right? It goes right. When you pull it to the left, it goes left. This is what he's talking about. I will lift that yoke off of you, that burden. Follow me. My yoke is light. It's easy. Are you following him? Are you following that? Or do you have that yoke? What yoke are you wearing? Because a lot of times we're wearing the yoke of social media. This is the yoke we're wearing. Or the yoke of money. Or the yoke of possessions. Got to have this car. I got to have that item. I got to have this. I got to have the iPhone 6 Plus. It's $1,200. $1,200 for a 6 Plus. They had people lined up to get it. They ran out. They ran out of them the first day. $1,200, and they ran out of them the first day. Can you imagine this? Can you just imagine? And we start there and we sit there and we go, oh, I can't give. I can't give to my church, but I got a $1,200 cell phone. I can't do this. I can't give these things. Where's that rest coming? Because that rest doesn't happen because you're pursuing all these items and these social. You know, I got to have the better phone so I can spend more time on social media. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your soul. You will find rest. How do we find rest? How do we find it? You guys have all heard it. It's a real simple one. Be still. Be still. Relax. Kick your feet up. What you have to do is you have to try and hear your heartbeat. When you hear your heartbeat, what will happen is that your mind will start to wander. What else is going on? You can feel your heartbeat. You can feel what's going on. And if you just start giving up these thoughts, and if you're just still, I mean, really, be still. Not Not be running around and going, oh, I'm going to spend some time with God. I'm going to get my 30 seconds in the Bible. Psalms 46:10, it tells us, be still and know that I am God. You know, can I tell you guys something? Anybody in here have small children or have had small children in the past? What's the thing that drives you nuts the most? When they are running around crazy, right? Mom, hey, mom. Isn't that what happens? This is it right here. I got all that energy. I really do. I can go all the time. And it's just like, let's go do it. Let's go. But this is how they are. Mom. Or it's like Stewie. Mother. That's just how it is. That's just how it gets. And they're like, and what does it do to you? It literally drives you crazy, doesn't it? You're like, oh my gosh, I want to kill my child. And can you imagine the exact same thing that God is doing? Because he's got 3 billion of us. He's looking down and he's like, oh, will you just sit down and relax? Kick your feet up? I mean, do something because you are driving me crazy. Be still. Maybe you're like my wife. She's married to a big child, right? And my wife will tell you. She goes, please leave me alone. Because that's how it is. I like to play. I like to go out and do things. It's like, don't get me wrong. I like to watch TV a lot too. But I like to go out and, hey, I'm playful. But this is how we don't find rest. My wife is a little different. My wife can't handle just sitting there watching a movie. It better be a really good movie. It has to be really, really good. Because she's going to get bored. And if she gets bored, that means we're getting in the car and we're going someplace. That's what it means. She gets bored, we're getting in the car, and we're going someplace. It's not like, hey, we're going to sit here and we're going to try and find something else. She's like, nope, gave you your shot, let's go. We're going for a ride. There's no rest. There's nothing. There's no way to be still. Sit down and be still. Psalm 131:2. But I have stilled and quieted my soul like a weaned child with its mother. Like a weaned child, my soul is within me. Unsettled. Most of us, we have that. We're just unsettled. Always going. We need to sit down. And guys, here's the thing. You will go pay money to have somebody make you be still. You will go pay $95 to somebody for an hour just for them to go, okay, now shut your mouth and sit down. And you will just sit there and pay for it. You will pay the money for a psychologist to tell you, all right, relax. Sit there for a second. We'll talk in 5 minutes. Let you get your mind right. $95 an hour. Right now, just go ahead and kick your feet up. So when we try and be still, here's what happens. We go, I'm going to be still. And so we go and we pay our bills. That's not being still. Anybody ever get frustrated when they're paying their bills? Like, how are we going to pay for this? How's this going to happen? Or you go, I'm going to be still. I'm going to go spend time with God while we go cook dinner. I'll have the Bible read to me. You go, I'm going to be still while there's diapers to change. That's not being still. And then you go, well, somebody might have posted something to Facebook. I better go check that and refresh it. And you go, I don't have time to be still. You don't have time not to be still. See how easy it is? See right there? See how easy it is? If I stop talking, you'll sit here and stare at me, but you'll be still. That's just what'll happen. We can sit here. I can do 5 minutes. It's okay. I got lots of time left. But that's what'll happen. You need to find that. You came with a priority of being still and going, I want to sit here. I'm going to relax. I'm going to get this message. How are you receiving it from God? How are you receiving it from God? You came in with that intent. Well, how are you doing it at home? Are you only doing it once a week? You only come in once a week and go, I'm going to be still here now. The second thing you need to do, so you need to be still. The second thing, make a plan. You have to have a plan. You have to make a plan. What are you going to do? Proverbs 13:16. A wise man thinks ahead. A fool doesn't and even brags about it. A fool doesn't even think ahead and brags about it. Hey, what are we going to do today? I don't know. We're just going to go out and we're just going to go spend a whole bunch of money. And then we're going to go tell everybody about it. Because that's what we do, right? Isn't it better to have a plan and go, this is what our budget is, this is how much we're going to have, so that way you can pay the PG&E bill next week? So often we skip it. We do our own thing. I will not be mastered by anything. I will not be mastered by anything. Money, social media, time, whatever it is. I will make a plan in your notes. A defensive plan, an offensive plan. On defense, maybe you put this down, no phone during a meal. No phones during a meal. The phone, you're sitting down, you're having a meal with your family, the phone goes away. It's not even allowed at the table. How about this? No phone at a life group or at a small group. Just the phone goes away. If you're there to do fellowship, then your phone, leave it in the car. That's where it's at. Maybe you have a special emergency one. I know on my iPhone I can set up and I can make it to where it's going to emergency ring for 1 or 2 numbers. Even go through silent. Put it on do not disturb. At night, put your phone on do not disturb or night setting. If you have an Android, it's night setting. If you have an iPhone, it's do not disturb. Put it on do not disturb. It'll only numbers through that you've set up to let through do not disturb. That's it. Don't let anything else just keep coming through. Why do you continue to be interrupted by this stuff? This is a great defensive plan. How about if you have an assistant at work, how about you leave your phone with the assistant so you can actually go into your office and do some work instead of being caught up on social media? You just leave the phone there. If it rings, answer it. And if it's important, bring it to me. Transfer it just like any other phone call you would do if you had an assistant at work. How about this? You go on vacation, you take a vacation from social media as well. No social media while you're on vacation. Maybe you even need to go a little further in your defensive plan and go, I'm going to take a month-long break from social media. A month long. Just be done with it for a month. Or maybe you just need to be done with it permanently. Be gone. Now, how about offensively? Because, we make a plan, we can be defensive, but how are we going to be offensive? Because sometimes we can't just be reactive. We see what the city does when it's reactive, right? People keep getting killed. So if we can actually go out and we can actually do something and be proactive instead of reactive, then things would be much better. How about daily Bible reading? Every day you will read your Bible and it will be a priority. You put away your phone and you pick up the Bible. Don't use the YouVersion app. Don't use the Bible app. Don't use Logos app. I don't care which Bible version you're reading out of. Put it down and read the actual word. Read a Bible. Some of them come in paper covers. Some of them come with leather covers, fake leather. I don't care which one you do. I don't even care what version. Pick it up and actually read it. Stop being afraid of the dust that's on it because you've let it sit for years in your house. Brush off the dust and start reading it. Schedule 5 minutes a day of quiet time. 5 minutes. That's all you need. Start with 5 minutes a day. Put away the phone. Start with 5 minutes a day. Consistent prayer time. Consistent prayer time. Every day, spend some time with God. Make sure you have a consistent time. How about worship? How about turning on Caleb at home? Or how about, putting on, if you have DirecTV, they all have these different channels that you can put on and you can listen to worship music all the time. How about worshiping while you're at home? How about this one? This one's even better. At sunset, how about you actually go outside instead of looking at somebody else's Instagram photo? You just plan on going outside and seeing the real sunset. Not one that somebody put like 30 filters on. You just walk out there and be like, man, that is a beautiful sunset. After you've put a blue filter and an orange one and all these different things on it, go out there and actually see what the real sun looks like. Force your kids to do it. Have you seen what your kids are watching? I watched somebody's house a couple days ago, and I'm like, what are your kids playing? These video games are just violent now. I mean, like even the stuff that I was like, when I thought that they were violent when I was a kid, it's like nothing now. I mean, now stuff is like, I'm not going to go into that. How about you actually interact with a person? So make sure that your offense includes interacting with other people. You have people in your life, interact with them. We have this disconnect, and all Christians have it. Discontent, and we're just doing our own thing. All the time, we talked about this over the last couple of weeks. We have been more filtered and less authentic. We need to unveil ourselves. We need to start doing things where we still show who we are. We do things. We need to stop. We go, I'm going to care less, because that's what we do. We like something, and we share it, and we just kind of do our own little thing. And what we need to do is we need to start doing action. We talked about this over the last couple of weeks. Some things are going to be changing around here. We're going to start with the nomadic shelter here. So you guys know that we're going to bring in the nomadic shelter. We're going to feed them. And we're going to figure out how many days a week or how many times a month we're going to do it, but we're going to bring in the nomadic shelter. They're going to sleep here. We're going to have to take care of that. We're going to have to feed them. We're going to bring it here, yeah. Yeah, we're going to start doing that here. The other thing is that we're going to start doing the restoration project again. We're going to start going out. We're going to start feeding. We're going to start reaching our neighborhoods. We're going to start doing life with other people. We're going to start doing actions. But we're going to offer restoration to people. We're not just going to talk about it. We're just going to go out and we're going to offer restoration. Not only are we going to feed them, but we're going to go, how can we help you get from this situation? What can we do to help you get out of this? What can we do? Because a lot of them, they want to be chronically homeless. They actually enjoy being on the streets. But there's some out there that want to get off the streets. There's some that want to get off and they want to get help. We need to offer restoration to them and help them get off. Your brain won't shut down. Maybe you need to look back and start going back to some of these things. Maybe you need to stop living such a filtered life and be authentic. Maybe you need to start demanding action of yourself instead of being careless. Start doing something. And maybe you should start reading the Bible, and you'll start finding peace. Get rid of the phone for a while, and start finding peace within yourself. And your brain will shut down, and you'll be able to get some sleep, and you'll be able to, instead of worrying about what everybody else is doing, why don't you worry about your salvation? Why don't you worry about your comfort? Why don't you worry about your health? Because these are all things that change our health. All of them. Focus on what's the most important. Your relationship with God, your relationship with your family, and you. That's it. Those are the three things. Everything else, man, what difference does it make that so-and-so is at Popeyes right now? Who cares? If you don't have a great relationship with God, what difference does it make if somebody's getting fast food or they had horrible customer service? If you're not saved and you're going to hell, what difference does that make? It's time for us to reevaluate the relationships we have and to start pursuing what matters most. Jeremiah 6:16. This is what the Lord says. Stand at the crossroads and look, and ask for the ancient paths. Ask where the good way is and walk in it, and you will find rest for your souls. He tells us, find the path that I told you to look for. Find the way that you're supposed to walk in, and you will find rest for your soul. It didn't say what everybody else was doing. It didn't say follow the path that they're doing on social media. It says follow the path that I've laid for you, that I have laid out for you, and you will find rest for your soul. What is the path that was been laid out for you? What is it? Focus there. And then maybe your brain will start shutting down. You'll find that rest. Pursue rest above all things. Pursue it. Make it the most important thing. Honor the Sabbath. Let's pray. Father, thank you so much. Thank you for helping us recognize and helping us see that we need rest, that we won't find peace and we won't find rest for our souls until we actually take that time and rest with you. God, we need to step back and we need to find you and we need to find the path that you've laid out for us so we can find rest for our souls, so we can wear the yoke and the burden that you've laid out for us, not the one that everybody's put on us, not the financial one, not the possessions one, not just the yoke that you've laid out to follow you, to love, to want to help others, to want to love others, and to love you. Nothing else matters, God. Nothing else matters. God, help us find you right now. Help us come back home. Help us find you to be able to walk and be able to find that rest and that peace that only you offer. God, help guide us. I know that some of us need to start over right now. Some of us need this. We've been so lost that we've been running around that we don't even have any idea what a relationship with you looks like. God, I want to change that right now. We all want to change that. We want to come back and we want to refocus and go, we want that rest. We want the brain to shut down at night. And I know that we find that rest in you. God, you sent your son for us while we were still out running amok and sinning and destroying the lives of others, so that you could actually save us and help us save others. Help us be your hands and your feet. God, we want that rest and we want to find that relationship with you. That's 2 Corinthians 5:17, to be able to start over, to be able to pursue you, to be able to have that new life that you promise. And we want that so that we can love so we can cherish, so we can find you. God, help us and guide us and lead us. But first, allow me to start that relationship with you right now. Start over. Start doing life with you. God, I want you to wash away my sins. And I believe that through your Son, my sins are gone and I have new life. If you prayed that with me right now, if you keep your heads down, if you prayed that with me right now, that you just want that new life, that you want the sins to be gone, and you're ready to start moving forward and being able to honor what he's asked you to do and find rest and be able to pursue him, can you put a hand up for me? Can you just, everybody's got their heads down. If you put a hand up and just say, I'm ready to pursue you, God. I'm ready to pursue rest. I'm ready to start a new relationship with you, to do life with you, to love. You can put your hands down. God, thank you so much. I know that so often that we want to put our hands up and we even lose that. We lose that courage. God, we ask that we can start and we didn't even just check the box. Just that outward expression saying that something has changed within me. God, thank you for all that you're doing right now and the changes that you're making. And all this we pray in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.